ترشيحي لرئاسة المجلس البلدي لمدينة بيروت.
Good afternoon, you're watching the English newscast on Future Television. I'm Linda Tamim and these are today's top stories. Lebanon faces a deadly outbreak of H5N1 bird flu virus after a number of cases led to the destruction of tens of thousands of chickens. Peace talks to end the war in Yemen resume in Kuwait. British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond welcomes the talks, saying only a political solution can bring an end to the conflict. And thousands of fans mourn Prince, one of the most influential figures in music, found dead at his Minnesota home. Lebanon faces a deadly outbreak of H5N1 bird flu virus after a number of cases led to the destruction of tens of thousands of chickens. The Agriculture Ministry, however, insists that plans are in place to prevent full-fledged epidemic. H5N1 is a highly contagious avian flu that can be life-threatening, although humans are not often infected. The virus was identified in a number of poultry farms in the Baalbek Hermel village of Nabi Shit after a regular and urgent inspection carried out by the Agriculture Ministry. The outbreak was noted after a number of birds died at several farms in the area. The detection of the outbreaks led to both the Agriculture and Health Ministries putting in place a national plan from 2007 to combat and control the virus. They explained that the best means to combat the virus was destroying chickens and preventing the movement of birds in order to limit the spread. Foreign Affairs Minister Gibran Bassil says he expects more than 1,000 Lebanese expats from dozens of countries to participate in a three-day diaspora conference scheduled for next month. In a televised news conference, Bassil said 711 expats from 74 countries have so far registered to take part in the third annual Lebanese Diaspora Energy Conference, which will begin on May 5th. The website of the conference says its purpose is to showcase the success stories of select Lebanese residents and expatriates and motivate them to stay connected. Bassil added that the Lebanese Diaspora Energy Conference was a sign that Lebanon was still alive despite the events happening in the region. He also used his news conference to promote a law passed in Parliament last year to allow the descendants of Lebanese male immigrants to obtain nationality. Plans are in place to safeguard the future of Syrian agriculture by recreating a seed collection stored in the northern Syrian city of Aleppo, which is at risk of being destroyed by the country's civil war. In a humid plastic tent in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, a Syrian scientist handles the leaves of the chickpeas, lentils and wheat that may one day help fill neighboring Syria's post-war kitchen tables. More details in this report.
In Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, a team of Syrian scientists are trying to safeguard the future of their country's agriculture. They're recreating a seed collection stored in the northern Syrian city of Aleppo. Now that collection's at risk of being destroyed by war. Because of conditions in Syria, the scientists have been forced to withdraw crop seeds from a vault in Norway, designed to protect them from nuclear events and natural disasters.
We kept this collection in Norway because it's a safe place, and the aim was to use them in the case of an emergency situation only. A while ago we decided we were now in an emergency situation because we could not get the seeds from the gene bank in Aleppo because of the fighting. We contacted Norway and got a collection of seeds and brought them to Lebanon in order to plant them and get seeds to preserve them.
Keeping copies of wild and domesticated varieties of staple crops like wheat and barley is important for global food security. To regrow, store and catalogue the thousands of seeds will take time, but the team hopes work can one day resume inside Syria.
More than 21 pro-government militiamen have been killed in 2 days of battles with Syrian Kurdish forces in northeast Syria, widening the Kurds' control over a city at the border with Turkey. 5 members of the Kurdish internal security forces were also killed in the fighting in Kamishli, which was the second most violent between the government and Kurdish forces since the beginning of the Syrian conflict. Elsewhere in the country, airstrikes on rebel-held neighborhoods of Aleppo have killed at least 14 civilians and wounded more than a dozen others. Syrian government chief negotiator Bashar al-Jafari has met with UN Special Envoy to Syria Staffan de Mistura as most members of the opposition left Geneva. The HNC, which brings together a range of political and military elements, had postponed formal negotiations indefinitely on Monday. Laying the blame on President Bashar al-Assad's camp, it said a fragile truce was effectively over after a surge in violence and lack of progress on humanitarian deliveries. Meanwhile, Jafari said the decision by the opposition to step away might help find a solution, saying they did not represent the Syrian people. Coming up next, U.S. President Barack Obama is in the UK appealing for Britain to stay in the EU. More details coming up. Welcome back. Talks aimed at ending Yemen's war opened in Kuwait, with Kuwait's top diplomat appealing to both sides to turn war into peace after more than a year of conflict, which has killed more than 6,200 people and caused a humanitarian crisis. Yemen's foreign minister Sheikh Sabah al-Khalid al-Sabah warned against high expectations from the UN-sponsored talks, which brought together the Houthi group and its General People's Congress Party allies with the Saudi-backed government of President Abd Rabbu Mansour Hadi. The talks, originally scheduled to start on Monday, were delayed over accusations by the Houthi group of truce violations and disagreements over the agenda for the negotiations. British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond welcomed the talks, saying only a political solution can bring an end to the conflict. U.S. President Barack Obama has arrived in the UK for a three-day visit, making an appeal to Britain to stay in the EU. Speaking to reporters shortly after his arrival to the UK, Obama said being inside the EU magnifies Britain's influence across the world. The U.S. president also argued that the UK had benefited from being inside the EU in terms of jobs, trade, financial growth and security. Thousands of fans of Prince have gathered for a vigil in Los Angeles after the pop icon was found dead in his home in suburban Minneapolis. He was only 57 years old. Police called to Prince's studio found the superstar unresponsive in an elevator at his home on Thursday, and attempts to resuscitate him failed. The Minneapolis native rose to fame in the late 70s with the hits I Wanna Be Your Lover and Why You Wanna Treat Me So Bad, and soared over the following decade with such albums as 1999 and Purple Rain.
He sponsored the arts and charitable organizations that no one knew about. Literally did not want anyone to know. So we hold so much love in our hearts, that's why we had to be here.
Right now, just want to pay respects to him, for all the things he did in the past as far as his music was concerned that he gave to the world. And so I'm being a part of that and experiencing that, I'm grateful and thankful for that. So that's basically why I'm here tonight. So
he is an icon in the community. I mean, Paisley Park, living in Chanhassen, he is an icon. I mean, we kind of grew up with this music, Purple Rain and Little Red Corvettes, and we grew up with this. So we're just, wondering, gosh, what happened?
I can't describe the feeling. It's, I'm older than Prince. I'm supposed to go first, not him. He's way too talented. He's been in all of our homes and living rooms and cars and offices and everything. And this is not supposed to be the way this is supposed to go down. I'm still in shock. I still don't even know the words that are coming out of my mouth at this point, because it's surreal, and I'm devastated. I'm really, really devastated. I think the business will evolve. I think it's evolving right now. He was so far ahead. It was abhorrent that Prince would use that type of intellectual creativity, pour everything into it, and give to people, only to have somebody else own it at the end of the day. I totally understood that. Where I think he got into a little trouble with the record label at that point was because he couldn't stop his creativity. And he was coming up with new songs. I mean, it just didn't stop. And he was coming up with new things all the time, and they didn't want him to put out as many albums as he was doing, because they felt it would dilute his audience.
A new action-packed trailer for Jason Bourne has arrived, with Oscar winner Matt Damon returning to the franchise as the iconic super spy. Damon takes on the role once again after starring in box office hits The Bourne Identity, The Bourne Supremacy, and The Bourne Ultimatum. He is joined by British director Paul Greengrass, who was at the helm for Supremacy and Ultimatum. Here's the trailer.
I know who I am.
When we are finished with you, you'll no longer be yourself.
I remember everything.
Remembering everything doesn't mean you know everything.
Tell me.
We've just been hacked. Could be worse than Snowden.
Facial recognition got a hit.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
Why would he come back now?
There's a demonstration in front of the Greek Parliament building. I think she'll use it as cover.
They tracked you. We gotta move.
He's seen things. He knows things. What if he's not coming for us? What if it's something else?
I volunteered because of a lie. This is Jason Bourne. I need to talk.
32 kills. People are safer because of what you did. You're never gonna find any peace. Not till you admit to yourself who you really are.
A British dog has displayed such a love for soccer balls that it's been compared to one of the world's most famous players. Alfie is a family pet, and its owner, Peter Simpkins, said the 2-year-old dog has no special training, but a video posted on YouTube shows Alfie chasing soccer balls with happy fervor, even demonstrating the ability to balance them on his head. Have a look. This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a recap of our top stories. Lebanon faces a deadly outbreak of H5N1 bird flu virus after a number of cases led to the destruction of tens of thousands of chickens. Peace talks to end the war in Yemen resume in Kuwait. British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond welcomes the talks, saying only a political solution can bring an end to the conflict. And thousands of fans mourn Prince, one of the most influential figures in music, found dead at his Minnesota home. Those are your top stories for today. I'm Linda Tamim signing off.
بترشيحي لرئاسة المجلس البلدي لمدينة بيروت.